Construction unions don't like Associated Builders and Contractors.
It was a labor demonstration the likes of which San Francisco hasn't seen in many years.
This is how they evidenced that dislike at an ABC convention in San Francisco.
A militant, angry group of union workers who say independent contractors attending a convention today at Moscone Center are guilty of union busting.
In 2000, union protesters swarmed the streets of Toledo, Ohio.
You probably got, I'm estimating, you probably got 1,000 people here. So we're gonna be busy for a little while.
The issue has always been the same. Union leaders want to intimidate, merit shop contractors want to compete.
It took us a lot of years to get where we are today. They try to lower our standards of living again.
They are notoriously, worked solely to destroy organized labor in the United States.
Lane Kirkland later joined the picketers. But the non-union construction workers say the AFL-CIO is not handling the competition fairly.
The problem is in the marketplace. If they would become more competitive in the marketplace rather than addressing the issue with violence and with their fists, I think we'd all be much more productive and a better America.
Violent protests notwithstanding, construction union membership continues to decline. Union market share is shrinking. Union pension funds are underfunded. Union leaders' salaries are at risk. It is a matter of survival for them, so they are stepping up their attacks and changing their tactics.
What's made ABC great is knowing where it stands and being aggressive in defense of the merit shop philosophy and the free enterprise system. They recognize that ABC, and this is I think very important, ABC is a force that is not going away. Back in the beginning, they thought they could stomp out ABC, and that failed. ABC is now so well established that the unions do not think they can just make it disappear. They have to accept ABC as a part of the market.
John Doherty has been a part of the merit shop movement since 1971. He too has seen the union change its approach.
It seems like the major change is it goes away from sort of the job site activity that we were more familiar with, picketing and that type of thing, to try to persuade owners and clients to not use members. They've gotten more sophisticated in that regard.
And also using the politicians, particularly where they have friends, as they do now in the current administration.
Using those friends, the unions are trying to recapture a market they couldn't maintain through competition. Their friends urge the use of PLAs and push for restrictive changes at the National Labor Relations Board and elsewhere. ABC's philosophy has its political friends too, some from the established leaders.
The President of the United States.
I want to talk to you today about how to keep the entrepreneurial spirit strong, how to keep this economy growing, and our need to protect the American people from harm. And I appreciate you giving me a chance to come and do so. David Meyer, thank you, and I thank your board for inviting me. Joining us today is one of my finest secretaries, Secretary Carlos Gutierrez, Secretary of the Department of Commerce. I appreciate you coming, Carlos, and thank you for being here. I want to thank the Congressman Todd Platts from Pennsylvania for joining us. Todd, there you are. How you doing, Todd? Thanks for being here. Honored you're here.
President Bush and others came to understand what ABC stands for. John Trimmer, ABC's national, long-serving chief staff officer and primary ABC architect, put it this way.
People who were in the association who just got together for this purpose, and this was their main driving point in association without any question. But they had explicitly in their charter stated that they were in favor of what we call now the merit shop principles, that anyone should be free to work with anyone else, and companies should be enabled to hire anyone else, and workers should be allowed to join or not to join a union as they see fit. That was the essence of it.
ABC has newly minted national leaders as well who also understand, like Congressman Frank Gunta of New Hampshire.
And the best way for us to do that was to offer this PLA amendment. Now, I have to thank ABC members from across the country because you got involved in this fight. You were calling your members of Congress, and I have to tell you, on the floor of the House, members were coming up to me, asking me about this issue.
ABC's new friends include Senator Marco Rubio of Florida.
I know this is a time when people are saying, look, we're bankrupt, we're broke, we can't afford to care about what's going on around the world. You have no choice. Everything that happens in your life today on a daily basis is directly influenced by what happens in the world. How much you pay for gas, how much you pay for food, how much you pay for building materials. Those things are directly related to political conditions on the ground in places halfway around the world. And if you still don't believe me, wait till you get to the airport to fly back home out of Washington, D.C.
While violent and noisy protests like this one in New York in 1998 are still a union staple,
Midtown Manhattan transformed into a war zone. As many as 30,000 construction workers shut down Madison Avenue outside MTA headquarters.
The union use of politics and new tactics has caused ABC to adjust as well. The association advocates for its position using new media, primarily through ABC's Free Enterprise Alliance.
The FEA also has a Halt the Assault website. I hope most of you have gone to that. Halt the Assault campaign has more than 10,000 followers on Facebook now. It's been a very successful movement of the Free Enterprise Alliance. And I know I'm preaching to the choir.
John Dougherty also sees ABC's opportunity to take the offense.
You know, I think it still is much more reactive. There are some proactive things that we may be able to do as an association, like getting legislation that would prohibit certain activities like project labor agreements or other types of persuasive tactics that they might use.
ABC continues to champion its free enterprise cause, especially in the political arena, with notable success. Nearly a dozen state legislatures have enacted PLA bans. More local units of government have done the same. And the association has seen success in taking its message to the voting public.
ABC San Diego became the first chapter in the history of the United States to enact a ban on public PLAs by means of a vote of the electorate. This was a ballot initiative. With wins in the cities of Chula Vista and Oceanside in November, the chapter's Yes A campaign received more than 600,000 votes and won every polling precinct in San Diego County to enact the ban on PLAs on San Diego County construction projects.
ABC was formed in 1950. Charlie Mullen was fed up with annoying union aggression, so he called together a group of his contractor friends.
The Knott Corporation, Ed Cowell, and several of my subcontractors, and asked them to meet me in my home on Spring Lake Way one evening as I formed the Associated Builders and Contractors.
Mr. Mullen has been followed by hundreds of free market merit shop believers, people like Gary Voss of Dan Voss Construction in Michigan. For Mr. Voss, challenged by disruptive unions on a major project, it was a matter of principle.
I look at it this way, that this is a free country. I didn't know that there was a boundary in this state that we live in and do business in that says, Voss Construction, you can't go beyond this line. That bothers me because we're a good quality contractor, and I ought to have that right as an American to go to any place in this country and do what we are doing, to make a living at what we're good at. Nobody should have the right to tell me that I can't go beyond that certain point. And that's what they have done, and that's wrong. And we are willing to stand on that principle, and we will stand on that principle. Somebody has to pave the road here, and if it's us, so be it.
Charlie Mullen and Gary Voss are just two of thousands of independent-minded contractors who have stood up for free enterprise and merit shop contractors. 50 years after he formed the organization, Mr. Mullen gavelled to order ABC's 50th anniversary convention in Baltimore in 2000, even as union protesters and their banners were carried overhead by airplane.
I will now call this meeting to order.
In 1787, Benjamin Franklin was asked about the product of the Constitutional Convention. "We've given you a republic," he said, "if you can keep it." In the same vein, ABC leaders of past years have also fought for your rights. For more than 60 years, ABC and its members sustained the merit shop, free enterprise, and fair and open competition in the construction industry, the pillars on which the merit shop continues to stand. There will be challenges from every quarter. Now it's up to you to keep it, to stand beside people like Trimmer, the first CEO, Builder Altimos, beat up for his trouble, Bennet, who helped create the Legal Rights Foundation, Callis, active from the beginning until his death, Attorney Cook, who fought the legal battles, Kennedy, champion of ABC's nationally recognized training program, Mullen, the founder, Dr. Northrup, merit shop expert, Rogers, ABC leader and then U.S. ambassador. In Baltimore at the 2000 convention, ABC members toasted the past and your future. The charge is enormous, the opportunity for success unlimited.